how Black Choreographers Festival continues the BCM legacy today. All right. So,
Here we are. Here we are.
we're doing it. So the question is, what are the current opportunities and challenges in presenting Black choreographers today in the third decade of the 21st century? How are the current generation of dance makers similar? Oh, I thought I talked loud enough. I thought it was on. How is the current generation of dance makers similar or different from the previous generation? And how have the social cultural issues changed or are similar? Well, I'm in there. Yeah, so what's going on today, ladies? Who wants to start?
I'll begin. You had a chance to witness some of what's happening today in the first performance segment. I feel the artists that presented for their new voices, new works, were all grappling with questions around self and self in the world and how their art expresses that and embodies that. Really creating, I mean, that's why we have Black Choreographers Festival, really, to have the safe space where Black artists can take those risks and ask those questions and create work that is important to them, that is vital to their really like humanity and existence. And when we curate, Kendra and I, we don't actually set a theme or set a question for them to create dances about. We just say, what is it that you want to say right now? Is it audible that says, there's still, what have you not said? What have you not said that you want to say? And it continues to be so exciting to us how they're bringing work and dialogue through that work that is thematic. They seem to be creating work about issues that they value, and there seems to be a through line. And this year it was really about who I am in particular spaces, identity, and what do I want to say about me, and how can I take up space with the power and beauty that is me, my humanity, and my powerful self. So I can't speak to how much different that is, but I feel like the way they are speaking to each other when they are in shared space and the way they are expressing individually seems to have like a through line, and that's kind of powerful to witness.
And how about you, Kendra? How do you, as the co-founder and co-director, see what's going on now with what your project is doing?
Yeah.
Wow, here's something.
Am I?
I know it's on. Yes.
Yeah, definitely share thoughts with Laura for sure, and it's always beautiful to witness. To witness what it is that artists bring each year, and seeing and standing back and just watching that through line kind of happen organically. I would say that it's also really refreshing to talk to artists and hear comments of understanding that when they bring work to BCF, it's a safe space and they feel empowered to experiment and to think about things that they want to explore without any confines or specific expectations. So that's really refreshing and empowering for me as co-director with Laura to be able to create that space. And that was our goal from the beginning, to really think about ways that we could nurture and help artists nurture and cultivate themselves in an empowering way, and also come together and see and support each other. It's like family coming together each year. So yeah, that's my comment.
Joanna, I had asked you to be on this panel particularly because of what you're doing currently with your Black Futures project. And I really would like you to say something about that, what it's like working with young contemporary dance and performance artists today, and how that might have been, different in the past when ZACO was first starting.
Well, for those of you who don't know, the organization and the company that I run, ZACO Dance Theater, has a residency program that supports Black performing artists in wherever they are in their careers and in their practice. Sorry, it's a new sound score. And there's studio space, there's stipends and mentoring and so on. And I think that one of the things that feels like it was the opportunities is that Black Futures, as well as the
Artist
AMP program.
We have artist mentoring programs, so they interface actually often, right?
So there feels like there's more opportunities for artists to be in these safe spaces where they can take risks. I feel like that's one of the big things, to push themselves kind of past their comfort zone and into new territory. And that they are being met where they're at, so whatever it is that, they need to actually move forward becomes available. And some of that is through mentorship, and some of that is through actual cash, to be able to survive. I mean, the challenge, of course, is for all artists, and particularly in dance. It is a struggle to be a dance. It was always a struggle, but I feel like this generation has a heavier weight to bear. I mean, I think when this question came up, I actually spoke to a few younger choreographers and young choreographers, and several of them spoke about going through COVID and that being at the very beginning of their careers, being isolated, being cut off completely from resources and not being able to build their work or their practice, and then coming back into an environment where people were not coming out to shows, that people were not stepping out or supporting. So I feel like these programs are super, super important right now to just get the younger folks kind of grounded and help them develop their work. The other thing that they said, and they all said this too, is that social media has become a tremendous strain, say. That now social media, there's a demand for all of them to have a social media presence, that is now their calling card, that people, I don't think that you do that, and you're not, and we don't do that, but that is, although, okay, this one is, no, but that people are looking at how many people are following them, and that they have to put in so much unpaid labor into this thing, and that it takes a lot of their time, and it also costs them money because of all of the different aspects of being successful on social media, being filmmakers, and editors and things like that. So, and understanding how to create content that's going to, put you on the map. And we never had that kind of pressure. We also didn't have the pressure of trying to survive. We struggled, but we figured it out. It didn't cost that much. There was also a lot more volunteering, that we could afford to actually volunteer for each other's projects, and now all of that feels very difficult. So I feel, certainly with the resources that I have, I feel a certain responsibility to be able to, you know, support younger artists and to help in whatever way to uplift their experience in this art practice, because of, you know, these types of challenges that feel unusual. I mean, unprecedented in many respects.
Well, I remember when I was doing my Fulbright research in Ghana on the effects of hip hop among the youth in Accra, the capital. And one of the things that I was really surprised by is that many of the music artists in that country, because labor is so cheap, could hire somebody to just walk around with them and post everything that they were doing instantaneously, pay them to do that, and to just set up their whole social media network, and they actually hired young people who were unemployed to just do that for them. And that brings me to the idea that, hip-hop as a culture and as a multi-billion-dollar industry now, not just in music, but also dance and and fashion, and the opportunities for choreographers to choreograph in that genre for the large media like video, like what's her name, Fatima?
Fatima Robinson.
Fatima Robinson and others. How has the hip hop generation and the demands of that particular culture affected young choreographers today that you're working with?
We certainly, I know AAA PAC, that's the African Performing Arts Coalition, my organization, really started off some of the well-known hip-hop artists like Rich and Tone. They also were very supportive of Black Choreographers Festival. Chris Scarver, MC Hammer came through and supported. His son does music. Chris Scarver and MC Hammer's son were doing work. We matched Chris Scarver with spoken word artists and did pop-up events, just stuff popping off in the lobby because we wanted that spontaneity happening and then bringing it to the stage. Algin Sterling, working his choreography on both coasts, East Coast and West Coast. UFO was the name of the company, really powerful. Crystal Bates and Hakeem Bivens, blending many different aspects of the umbrella of hip hop, different social dances, waving, hopping, and then turfing, and then going back to the West African roots and fusing all of those genres together to really make impactful work. So those are just a few of the, New Style Motherload, oh my goodness, my first year. In 2005, New Style Motherload just activated the space so powerfully. I think was nominated for many awards for their work, and then they had spin-off company members that came to Dario, right? So I say all that, who to say that from the inception of BCF, hip-hop culture has been a part of our programming, and if you're seeing Robert Moses' work, you're seeing the culture there. Robert Moses, his choreography absolutely infuses who he is as an artist, and he grew up in the era. He is an OG, we call him original groover. And so it's throughout the program. We really can't exist without hip hop culture being an impact and showing up. It's been a part of American culture. People want to say, I know it's in 72 because I'm also an OG, and I remember popping and locking to the Ohio Players painting in my front yard, in my backyard, and crip walking in 1972. So we can have an argument about where it started, East Coast, West Coast, and who. That's for another time. But it is part of who we are. So it's always been a part of what we do. And then you also are sort of supporting the push residency.
Supporting,
So please
yes,
talk
push.
about that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, well, yes, I'm supporting Push Dance Company's and Raisa Simpson's HEART program. It's a hip-hop artist and residency training program where they bring young hip-hop performing artists and, support them through mentoring and performing opportunities. And it's a really fantastic program. And for some of them, it's the first opportunity for them to bring their work, into public situations. And people go off into, starting careers.
And I must say this, I cannot believe I forgot this name, Martin T. Joseph. One of the first artists to actually do a full hip-hop opera in Carnegie Hall. Also started with AAA PAC when he first came to the Bay Area and was looking for a home. I was introduced to Mark T. Joseph. We did a project together. This would be 2001. We presented in 2002. And he's like a brother to us. And he's been a part of BCF since its inception to 2005. And always, Word Becomes Flesh. He premiered as a solo and then as a 5-person project. He did a different iteration and said, and I want to do it there because it was a risk and he was taking a chance. And he was like, and it's got to be here. Because here meaning with the Black Choreographers Festival, because he knew he would be seen, he would be supported, and it's going to do amazing things. So I guess we have a lot of examples of how hip-hop culture is just resonated with what we do and has had a home place at Black Choreographers Festival, and clearly supported by Sako as well.
And I was just going to add as well, part of BCF is doing workshops and master classes, and the work that we've done with youth in Cash Gains, Ready Harris, and doing, having conversations, Rashad Pridgeon, Destiny Arts. Having these conversations with youth as well about the history of hip hop, the impact of hip hop is really important as well. So workshops, and then just last week, or not last week, but during the festival concerts this year, Algin DJ live with Raisa. Yeah, so.
Can I make a quick plug? Speaking of hip hop, we have a show coming up with hip hop. Sorry, with hip hop. Hip hop is called The Bronx Revolution and the Birth of Hip Hop. It's with hip hop pioneers. Melly Mel will be there, and MC Sharrock. Yeah, and I'm saying you need to be there.
Melly Mel is going to be there?
Melly Mel will be doing the message.
That's hip hop royalty right there.
That's it. Yeah, and Grandmaster Kaz, and I know it's going to be really great. And it will be June 20th and 21st.
And when is this?
It's June 20th and 21st at Yorba Buena Center for the Arts. So since we were talking, I know that was kind of be there. That was kind of rude. And by the way, we're going to all be show.
No, if that's important. Now I'm putting that on my calendar.
Yeah, and Rockefeller will be there too. Rockefeller's going to be dancing. And Greg was at Theodore, he invented scratch.
The inventor of the scratch, in turntabling.
They'll all be there.
Mm.
And they all agreed to let me play with them. It was all, I'm very excited.
That's amazing.
Wow, you're doing it, girl.
Love it.
Beautiful. Well, there's one part of the question that I would like us to dive deeper into, and that is what's on everybody's mind right now. The social-cultural issues that have either changed or have not changed. That's a heavy one.
This is a sad one.
Okay, so
I would say art is resilient. I always love doing this quote. You may know it. It's a funketeer. With the rhythm it takes to dance to what we have to live through, we can dance underwater and not get wet.
Yes.
So artists have a way of doing what we do. We know that our impact is needed. We cannot stop. Can't stop, won't stop. We don't do hip hop again. Because the world needs us. Not just our society, but the world needs what we have to offer.
Art is healing. Yeah.
I don't know if that exactly answered the question, but that's what I was feeling. I love it.
Amen to that. Right, amen, Ashe.
Well, yeah, I agree, and I think that when we were starting in 1989, by the way, we were, you know, the big Bay Area earthquake had just happened 3 weeks before our opening, and we had discussions about whether or not we should postpone, cancel, you know, or continue. And we decided we were going to continue. That the Bay Area needed us to do this because people were suffering. You know, I mean, it was that. You know, if you were around then in '89, that was, you know, that was the big one back then. And we had to get buses, shuttle buses, to go from the 16th Street BART to Theater Artaud to bring people because they couldn't drive. They had to take BART, etc. So those are the things that we had to overcome. But as you saw in that clip where Dean was introducing the '92 festival, we were also dealing with issues like the big riot that was happening in Los Angeles, the Rodney King. That was a major thing. That was the George Floyd incident of our time back then. That, you know, stopped the country, and protests were going all around in various major cities, as well as Los Angeles. But we had to deal with that. And as you saw from the way he introduced the show, we did not shy away from talking about that and making people aware that we were living in that context. So I think that our festivals, you know, they have to take into account what is the social, political situations and issues that we're in as we move through all of this. And we also know that what we're doing is an absolute necessary force to at least provide some kind of antidote to all of that. And I think that's the way I see our purpose. It's one of our purposes. We're not only just reacting, you know, and serving up an antidote to the madness, but
And also to help us see it, right, and
Yeah.
understand it, and, you know, to have a different perspective or have a lens into it in a way that allows for other perspectives to come in and for us to be in dialogue and, you know,
Right.
just to have a way to understand what's happening.
right. And to oftentimes remind us of the larger context that is around us, like the water, I call it the water dance, the ocean dance that we saw here earlier. To remind us that we're in a larger context, you know, and forces that are actually larger than what we consider to be the big political forces.
Origin, I think it's titled Origin from Sand to Sea. I got it. I didn't say it exactly correctly when I introduced it. Origin from Sand to Sea.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I would like to remind us in our audience that we should have some cards going around. That if you have any questions for us, I'm going to choose some of those questions, and we're going to answer some of them after our second performance. But if there's nothing else to be said, I mean, if there's anything else you want to say, please do. Or else we can segue into our second performance.
I do want to say I love having an opportunity to reflect and to talk about issues that are important to us. So, you know, thank you for organizing these really in-depth questions. And I actually wish I had the heart and capacity to talk more about politically the challenges that, that we may face. But literally, we're so in the throes of creating incredible things that I just want to stay in that sphere, right? And I don't have fear at all. I just don't have fear. I feel like we have a community that are going to show up and show out, and they're going to make sure, not just the artists that are creating work, but people who care about humanity and care about the fact that there isn't anything we do in this world that art isn't part of what you do. From the chairs you sit on, this architecture, the clothes you're putting on, the car you're driving, the street you walk down, the buildings around it, the park, you know, your eyewear, the books you read, the computer you open up. African American contributions are part of all of those things. And art is a part of all of those things. All of those things I mentioned that we care about. Folks that look like us have contributed to that. It is what America is. We are what America is. And I won't let immigrants that are in the White House diss other immigrants that are living on the ground day to day. They don't have the place for that. It's not their right. So understand, I'm a 6th generation American, and I have someone in the White House right now, maybe 3rd generation, it's questionable, telling me who gets to live in my country or not. An immigrant, his damn self. And the little kid that's working with him, I don't even think was born here. So I question the relevance, right, and the audacity of them to tell actual Americans, if we want, that's their term, right, not mine, what America's supposed to look like. That's for us to do. So stand up, show out, because I won't stand for, and I hope you won't either, hate and this divisiveness from people who clearly are un-American, clearly do not know what America is about. 6th generation right here, I know.
Me too. Yeah, I go back 6 generations.
That's why I have no fear, because I know better. And talk to folks who don't understand and let them know, remind them that the thing they say is the thing they are.
Well,
So I guess I did have the capacity to say a little bit.
Yeah, and I tell everyone now is not the time to rest on some kind of fence. It is time to stand for something, or you will fall for anything. And on that note, let's see some more dance. All right.